with all the guests and all the participants and all our eminent speakers request and their taking their concern, let me start our today's session. Firstly, a pleasant greeting to all of you for the 9th edition of UNESCO Chair Lecture Series on the use of ICT in higher education, the socio-economic aspect. Now, let me first of all let you know that I, Mrs. Soma Mitra, Registrar and Assistant Professor in HR and Communication at IIMT, let me heartily welcome all eminent speakers, guests, and participants to this podium. Now, let me take you to what we have planned out for our today's 9th edition. The 9th edition of our today's session is on the effect of or on ICT effect on higher education. We will start. Today, we are fortunate enough to have with us Dr. Ranjana Bajpayee, Professor and Head Department of Geography, Devonshire University, Qatar. Professor Francisco Vigliarolo, Director and UNESCO Chair, Professor, National University of La Plata, Argentina. We have with us Professor Shrikant Patnaik, Chairman IIMT and UNESCO Chair Lecturer at National University of La Plata, and Dr. Pramod Kumar Prishti, Dean Academics, IIMT, Bhubaneswar, with us. Let me now take you on a tour of the 9th edition of the UNESCO Chair Lecture Series on the use of ICT in higher education, the socio-economic aspect, where we will explore and gain knowledge on the use of ICT in higher education, the socio-economic aspect by our today's speaker, Dr. Ranjana Bajpayee. We will start the session with the introduction of guests and speakers, followed by a quick tour of IIMT Bhubaneswar, where participants will gain an insight into the institution's innovative program and state-of-the-art facilities by Dr. Pramod Kumar Prishti. Then we will have an introductory remark by Professor Francisco Vigliarolo, followed by a talk on use of ICT in higher education. We would get a concluding remark by Professor Shrikant Patnaik, Chairman IIMT and UNESCO Chair Lecturer at National University of La Plata. And we will end with a feedback cum interaction session. Let me now give you a glimpse of when we have started. We have started this journey of UNESCO Chair Lecture Series. Our first edition was on November 1st, 2023, where Honorable Professor Francisco Vigliarolo, Sri Suresh Sarangi, Professor Dr. Kamla Prasad Mahapatra, and Dr. Chittaranjan Mishra were the speakers. During our second edition, which we have conducted on December 2nd, 2023, Professor Otto Harman, Sri Subrat Kumar Prishti, and Professor Susant Kumar Naik were the speakers. During our third edition, which we have conducted on January 6th, 2024, Professor Francisco Vigliarolo, Professor Massimo Franchi, and Professor Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Jena, along with Sri Ramakrishna Gopaluru, were our speakers. During our fourth edition, which was conducted on February 5th, 2024, Professor Francisco Vigliarolo, Sri Ravi Shankar Behra, and Sri Sanu Das were our speakers. During our fifth edition, that is on March 2nd, 2024, Sri Ananta Charan Swami was our speaker. During our sixth edition, which we have conducted on April 6, 2024, Professor Francisco Vigliarolo and Sri Jagdananda, mentor and co-founder for the Center of Youth and Social Development, were our speakers. During our seventh edition, which we have conducted on 10th May 2024, Professor Francisco Vigliarolo and Professor Otto Harman were our speakers. During our 8th edition, which we have conducted on 1st June 2024, Professor Shrikant had given a glimpse about this UNESCO chair. Let me now introduce to our audience about Professor Francisco Vigliarolo. Professor Francisco Vigliarolo, Director and UNESCO Chair Professor, National University of La Plata, Argentina, is a full-time professor of regional economics at Catholic University of La Plata and social economics, PhD in social science, specialization in economic sociology, postdoctorate in economics, and masters in sustainable development. He is also an associate investigator of the CESOT of the University of Buenos Aires. At the Universidad Nacional de La Plata, he is a chair holder of UNESCO Chair in Economic System and Human Rights. He founded with almost 20 universities all over the world. From 2008 to 2015, he worked at the University of San Martin, where he promoted and designed the first master course financed completely with European funds in Argentina, in democracy and DDDH. Before moving from Italy to Argentina in order to study social responses to the financial crisis of 2001, he worked at the University of Ferrara, where he was professor of social economics and methodology and technique of social investigation and promoter and coordinator of some masters, including social economics and non-profit organization and social economics and international cooperation. He has also been director of CIPSI, Italy, Federation of 45 NGOs, presently more than 60 countries around the world. With his investigation, he is interested in local development processes such as construction of territorial identities that imply the affirmation of rights through the strength of associative and democratic forms of production. In this direction, he works to what is called economic phenomenology, which aims to observe the economic starting from the relationship between subject, materiality, which presupposes functions, ideas, concepts, and the affirmation of the relational identity of a democratic society, which defines an ontological reason as opposed to the utilitarian one. He has published various books and scientific articles from which he explained concepts such as social ethical capital, economic socialization, democracy, demand for the rights of the people, mesoeconomics approach, and the principle of economic phenomenology. As his latest book we mentioned, The Economy is a Social Phenomena, Principle of Economics Phenomenology, published with Udeba, Works and Labs, Capitalist Societies and Ways Out in 2017, published with Chaka Book. Let me now introduce Professor Shrikant Patnaik, Chairman IIMT and UNESCO Chair Lecturer to us, to the complete audience. Dr. Shrikant Patnaik, the founder and director of IIMT Bhubaneswar, holds an MBA from Sambapur University in 1991 and a PhD in computational intelligence from Jadavpur University, India in 1999. With an extensive academic career, he has supervised various theses and master theses in computational intelligence, soft computing applications, and reagents. Dr. Patnaik's scholarly contribution include more than 100 research papers in international journals and conference proceedings, along with authoring 3 textbooks and more than 100 edited volumes, including invited book chapters published by leading international publishers such as Springer Verlag, Clover Academic. He holds editorial position in various book series and journals, including those published by InterScience Publishing House, that is International Journal of Information and Communication Technology, and International Journal of Computational Vision and Robotics. It also includes publication from Springer and IGI Global, contributing significantly to the dissemination of knowledge in his field. Let me now introduce our today's speaker, Dr. Ranjana Bajpayee, Professor and Head, Department of Geography, Ravenshaw University, Cuttack, formally to the audience. Professor Ranjana Bajpayee is currently the head of the Department of Geography at Ravenshaw University, Cuttack, Odisha. In addition to her role at Ravenshaw, she serves as a non-ex officio member of the Council of the Indian Council of Social Science Research. Professor Bajpayee's academic journey began at DBS College in Kanpur, Uttar Pradesh, where she taught and conducted research from April 2003 to April 2010. She then spent 5 months at Utkal University before joining Ravenshaw University in September 2010. Over her career, she has supervised 9 MPhil, 9 PhD scholars, with 4 PhD scholars having been awarded their degrees. Professor Bajpayee graduated with honors in geography from Dayal Singh College, University of Delhi in 1996 and completed her master's in geography from the Center for the Study of Regional Development, School of Social Science, JNU, in 1998. Specializing in social geography, she further pursued her MPhil and PhD in political geography from the Center for International Politics, Organization and Disarmament, School of International Studies, JNU, completing them in 2000 and 2008, respectively. Her research interest encompasses the environment. The author of the book, State Development and Deforestation, a study of Brazil's Amazonian policies in 2010, and has numerous publications and invited lectures to her credit. Professor Bajpayee had undertaken several work and academic assignments across various Indian universities. Now, let me request Professor Pramod Kumar Prashti, Dean Academics of IIMT, to give us an insight about InterScience Institute of Management and Technology, IIMT, to the complete audience and the podium. Sir, please.
Jai Jagannath. Very good afternoon to all. IIMT Bhubaneswar, InterScience Institute of Management and Technology Bhubaneswar, was established in the year 2007 with an objective of teaching science of management in addition to the practice of management. The name itself explains about the scientific study of management, and further to mention that it is inscribed in our institute logo. Workshops, seminar and conferences. Let me explain what we mean by teaching science of management. During these 15 years of existence, we have organized, facilitated more than 100 symposium, seminar, workshops, national and international in various niche areas of management and technology. Book publications. Since our inception, we at the rate IIMT have edited and published more than 100 volumes in the area of management and technology from reputed publishing houses like IEEE, SEM, Springer, Elsevier, iOS, SPY, Fluer Academic, MDPI, Hindway, or InterScience, etc. All these books are available for purchase from Google or Amazon. All our faculty members are engaged in these activities. Visiting professors. Each year, we invite and host professors from abroad for workshops and seminars. I am tempted to say that this year, Professor Jesus Garcia from University Complutense de Madrid and Professor Vijayan Sugmaran from Oakland University School of Business visited our campus. During the month of April 2023, Professor Vipul Jain was here from Victoria University, Wellington, for a month on a research exchange program. IIMT lecture notes on management. We publish management books through our own in-house publication, that is IIMT lecture notes on management, where we publish the essential books like self-management, career guidance, and emerging fields of management. IIMT Open House. We have started one channel, namely IIMT Open House in YouTube. The purpose is to educate students and parents at large on various subjects and disciplines through talks and interviews. By now, we have more than 100 episodes available at our YouTube channel, namely @IIMT Open House. We have taken interviews with professors, professionals, entrepreneurs, and policymakers. InterScience Research Network, IRNet. We have created a platform known as InterScience Research Network consisting of professionals and researchers. It is available at www.interscience.ac.in, through which we organize various programs inside and outside India. We do arrange workshops and seminars at various universities. IIMT is organizing an international conference on economic systems and human rights towards an economy of brotherhood, ESHR 2024, dated November 1st, 2nd, 2024, under the guidance of Professor Francisco Vigliarolo. UNESCO Chair Professor Institute Network. Our institute is in the UNESCO Chair Professor Institute Network. Professor Florin Propentiu Vladisescu from City University, London, who is an UNESCO professor in the domain of information technology, visited our institute during 2016. Today, I am proud to say that we are hosting the UNESCO Chair Professor on Economic Systems and Human Rights. Thanks a lot to Professor Francisco Vigliarolo for giving this opportunity. Now, I request Professor Francisco Vigliarolo to deliver his introductory remark. Thank you all.
Hi. Hi. Do I have to speak now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. You are
Yes.
audible. You can speak.
Excuse me because I am a little sick. And just to suggestion, thank you. First of all, thank you for this important moment. Just the 90, no, the 90 seminar lecture series that we are doing. It's very interesting, very important, because it's a place to change opinion, debate in a universal way. Because it's one of the topics that I would like to introduce in my little in my minutes that I have to in this excuse me, because in this seminar. I am not expert in ICT and educational, but I worked for many time, for a long time, in this in the University of Ferrara, in a study center of ICT and educational, and I was working in economic topics, no, and in my opinion, there is no doubt that ICT is very important today in the for educational system, for educational, high educational at all the levels, all the levels, and but we have to be careful to use only ICT for education, in my opinion, because it's always important to make community the challenge to make community be among the people, among the teachers, among the students, because a formation educational, is what in social economy we call relational good. Is a relational good. It means that the relational good we build together, and not we have to not the attention is to create community, and not with a computer, just a computer or just some instruments, some tools. One of the topics that I would like to introduce. But it's no doubt that educational ICT in educational is very important to introduce also to universal knowledgement, to universal, to know different situation around the world, and to put in contact many different way of thinking, many different way of living, or situation experience. This is one of the things that I have in my opinion is very important, because today in economic, in particular, what I would like to deal with in economic, we have to pass to go through a universal economy, and ICT. I think that ICT is very important in this direction. Where we can change opinion, studies, case studies, interchange solution, interchange local experience, but in an international way, just how we are doing now. It was impossible to do this some years ago, no? If we think many years ago, it was impossible to stay here and each month and debate of different topics, different thematics. And in economy, in my opinion, one of the challenges that educational ICT educational system we have to be careful, or we have to deal with, is what I think I name ethic and economic. Economic many times is dealt with mathematical tools, mathematical reasoning, mathematical exercise too. We have to try to make people thinking about ethic questions. It means behaviors, other reference that can explain economic models, because we have to understand that each economic system is based on human people, on human relation, and we are not there. It's not only a relational means ends to make monetary profit, no? And because we have to, in my opinion, educational system in mathematics, in economic, we have to change. It's one of the topic that I wrote in a book just 2 weeks ago. We have to remember that economic still until Smith was always a branch of ethic, and just with Smith it became a mathematical, we can say so, a mathematical mathematical science, no? Mathematical science. In fact, in 1747, for example, Hutchison, teacher of Adam Smith, professor of philosophy at the University of Glasgow, published a brief introduction to moral philosophy. And inside this, there was a book that deals specifically with economic and politics, in which it refers to a tradition of 2000 years, which took up to Xenophon and Aristotle. To say what? To say what that we have to try to use ICT also to make people think to ethical questions, and not just only as a robot that they 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 can only answer mathematically, and only answer multiple choice. No, multiple choice. I use to multiple choice question for students. No, and in economic, especially in economic, we have to understand that it cannot be treated as a perfect sense described with the tools of mathematics, physics, and statistics. It must be linked to the issues of justice, social justice, and human rights. For example, what we try to do from some years. And reposition economic as a social science that studied these issues is an essential issue today, because it's therefore necessary to establish an economic science that is based on human rights, or human, what we can call it, social and human substance of the society. No, that is not only numbers of monetary achievement, and so on. And I think that ICT can be very, very important as direction to create what we can call a values, a nucleus of values, common values, universal common values, because allows us to stay in contact with different experience, with different person. It could be different with different economic system, in a few words. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge that we are doing. It's 20 years that I use ICT in university. It's from 2002. I worked in Ferrara, in Italy, and I coordinate 2 master degree in economic science. And this is my opinion, one of the challenge, to make people think, and to go away, get out from the subject, we can say, of mathematical way of thinking. But there are other things that we have to try to put inside the economic science. And in my opinion, to finish, to finish, we can. It would, in my opinion, it would be interesting to create international forum when we use e-learning or other instrument. International forum where people can debate, international forum of the discussion, not discussion forum that are always they work, from me little experience, they work to enrich, to make richer the learning, the learning, also for the teachers, because different point of view. I think that the community, the challenge is create a universal community from different countries, from different experience, always in the same country, that we learn that we are not only to do something, and we can do together. This is more or less what I would like to say. On the topic. I am not an expert. I highlight again, but I worked many years in ICT and education, and I think that it's important. We have not. It's very important, and we have to use all the things, how we use, and we need we need in economic to establish an ethic thinking that helps us to understand that we have to think, to choose, and we have to understand what is important, what is value. In Latin, value is something that makes us happy, makes us happy, or makes us salvation, no? Value. Value is, and we have to understand what are in ICT, in economic. I think that it's important to understand what are to build these common values, no? With these common values, universal common values. That may be the human right. Human right can be maybe this reference, no? For this, I found this chair two years ago with the trying to build some universal reference for economy, because the planet is one. Economy, we have always discussed about it. Oikos in nomos, oikos is house, is home. And we have to understand that we are just one planet where we live, and we have to understand that we are not this only maximization of profits, but maximization of values, and how to do this with the ICT. ICT is very interesting this way. In this direction, I think that ICT is very interesting. It's a tool. I don't want to speak a lot
Thank you.
more than
Thank
the
you.
minutes you gave me.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Madam, you may take over and
Thank you,
Soma.
sir. Thank
Yeah.
you, sir, for giving us your introductory remarks. Now, may I request our today's speaker, Dr. Ranjana Bajpai, to deliver her talk on use of ICT in higher education, the socio-economic aspect, and enlighten us with the use of ICT. Madam, please.
So allow her to use the PPT. Make her co-host.
The microphone is muted.
Madam, your microphone is muted.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
Am I audible now? Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am, you are audible.
Thank you, Soma ma'am. So, good afternoon, one and all. First of all, I take this opportunity to thank Professor Shrikant Patnaik, Director, IIMT, and UNESCO Chair Lecturer, National University of La Plata, Argentina, Professor Francisco, Director and UNESCO Chair Professor, National University of La Plata, Professor Pramod Kumar Tusti, Dean Academics, IIMT Bhubaneswar, and Dr. Soma Mitra, Associate Dean, Corporate Relations, IIMT Bhubaneswar, and Coordinator for UNESCO Chair Lecture Series, to have given me this opportunity to deliver this 9th edition of UNESCO Chair Lecture of the institution. It is indeed an honor to address.
Pleasure is all ours, madam.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. It is indeed an honor to address you all today on this very insightful topic of use of ICT, information communication technology in higher education, some socio-economic aspects. So I'm really very happy and impressed with the introductory remarks of Professor Francisco, because without even listening to what I'm going to go ahead with, he's, in a way, he's given a very nice, concise view, or you can say overview of whatever I'm carrying today. And before I begin, again, even I would like to say, going by your institution's name, InterSciences Institute of Management and Technology, I'm neither a person of science, nor management, nor technology. Basically, I'm a geographer, that too, a social geographer. And I'm working with tribes. I work as, with, environment, development, interface, gender. These are my areas of interest. In any case, let's proceed with this topic, and as we proceed, I will be giving my views. I will be addressing you on the basis of what, drawing upon what I have witnessed as a teacher, as a researcher over these 21 years of my experience as an academic. So as far as ICT is concerned, let me just share these slides. Yes. Is it visible to all?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So here we go.
Ma'am, if
ICT.
you can make it full screen.
Yeah, I have made it full screen.
Okay, okay.
I hope it's visible. I've done that.
Ma'am, it's visible.
Yeah, it's in slideshow mode. Okay. Yeah, so ICT, because I would just like to refer to small terminologies that I have used. These are the technologies that we use or we access to share information or provide information through telecommunication like internet, wireless, or mobile phones, or any such mediums. When we say higher education, means the level of education after higher secondary, that is 12th grade. Okay. That means undergraduate, postgraduate, and the doctoral fellows. And when we say socio-economic means basically, as we all know, education, when we teach geography, we say education is an important economic and social indicator, I'm sorry. And it is, of course, a necessary condition for social change and economic upliftment. It is the window for social change, and hence, of course, economic empowerment. And once you are economically empowered, means you have higher incomes. Higher incomes may ensure higher investments in education sector. So obviously, when we say socio-economic is interrelated. And it's the use of ICT, information communication technology, in higher education that will enhance the potential of higher education. Okay. So to begin with, the entire theme, or you can say the gist of my presentation, would be limited to what I mentioned here in red, what Albert Einstein had to say. Education is not learning of facts, but the training of mind to think. We have a lot of technology. We have invented a lot of innovations are there. We even have artificial intelligence. We have a lot to give, lot to share. But ultimately, it all boils to whether we have the ability to think, whether we have the ability to assimilate the information or not. As far as India is concerned, and starting from my own student life to whatever I have witnessed, I remember 1990s in JNU, being a student, the use of mobile projectors, small mobile projectors, that too I think was very limited to select institutions of India where maybe the institutions had sufficient funding and all. Then cut to 2004, we had this EduSat, India's first dedicated educational satellite, meant for, you can say, educational justice, to provide, facilitate distant learning, and ensure that educational resources reach remote and rural areas which were otherwise difficult to access, and make education more inclusive, not just urban areas, but also rural areas. Then we had another phase, 2011, what we see during the 11th five-year plan, this National Mission on Education through ICT was launched with three prime objectives: human resource development, development of e-content that we see a lot now, single window, single platform, you will get a lot of e-content and e-resources, and of course, broadening, building the connectivity and knowledge network, and increasing the internet connectivity. Then move to 2015, that is Digital India, major initiative of Government of India, which has achieved a lot, especially in terms of delivering the services to poor masses. Basically, I've just mentioned four achievements here. There are many. Major achievements are, it has improved online infrastructure. It has enhanced internet connectivity, especially if you compare it with many, many years earlier when it just started. Then, of course, we have financial inclusion through UPIs. You go to any small town of India also, small street vendors also, they are using UPIs. It's very common. It's not a very uncommon thing, very common. Forget about, middle class or upper class. It's across, it cuts across classes. Many are using UPI. And then, of course, you have Aadhaar integration. And through this Aadhaar integration, what we see, this is exactly the cornerstone of Digital India, which enables a streamlined delivery of services, subsidies, and direct benefits to the public. The public which deserves, the people who are below poverty line. So services, subsidies, and direct benefits, and of course, many other services to general public. And then you have the fourth achievement, that is digital literacy. We have this PMG Disha for rural households, that is Pradhan Mantri Gramin Digital Saksharta Abhiyan. This is Prime Minister Rural Digital Saksharta is education Abhiyan movement, education movement. This is part of Digital India, which aims at making 6 crores, that was in 2015, more than 6 crores rural households digitally literate, ensuring that digital resources are accessible to all sections of society. So these are some of the positive sides that we see in Digital India. Now, whatever I'm going to discuss next is the socio-economic aspects of use of policy in higher education. I will be discussing with respect to three things, that is BBC. First B is benefits, second B is the barriers, and third one is the challenges. Of course, as Professor Francisco mentioned, benefits are many. I would be highlighting only a few of the benefits that I have experienced through my career. And what I see is rather barriers are many and challenges are no less. So coming to the first one, that is the first benefit. And this we can see as the social benefit of access and equity. That means distributive justice. The most significant socioeconomic benefit that we see of using ICT in higher education is the entire process is now democratic in nature. You can say democratization of access. You cannot deny that we have engaged classes during the pandemic, and I would like to say majority of the students, more than 90% of the students were able to access. We were able to run full 2 academic sessions during the pandemic thanks to ICT, use of ICT in higher education. Otherwise, we would have had perhaps 4 semesters, loss of good 2 academic sessions to the students. And it, of course, breaks the traditional barriers of economy and geography. As far as India is concerned, as I said, every hand has one or the other. Model could be different, but mobile phone is very common among students. So it has broken the traditional barriers of economy and geography, making education accessible to a much wider audience than through traditional modes, where people may have had to walk for miles to reach their school, especially, say, during unfriendly weather or some other conditions. This is possible, of course, through wide online courses and virtual classrooms and digital libraries that we have, which allow students from diverse socioeconomic backgrounds and remote locations to access and pursue their higher education. And it is these online platforms that, as I said, made us sail through the pandemic. So this inclusivity fosters greater equity and helps us bridge the gap between different socioeconomic groups. And the second socioeconomic, social aspect rather, is improved learning outcomes, that is the quality of education that we deliver, and connectivity between the stakeholders. When we talk about the improved learning outcomes, what we see is ICT, through the use of ICT, we are providing more interactive and engaging learning experience. It is no longer a monologue. It is a dialogue. Sometimes we can, when we are engaging students, we can, at the same time, they can open the PPTs or the simulation models in their own phones or laptops, and the kind of labs that we use. It's an engaging activity. So digital tools like educational software, simulations, and multimedia contents, they cater to different kinds of learning styles. Students are different in the sense their pace of learning is different, and we do have available with us adaptive learning technologies, tailor-made technologies. Students can learn at their own pace. And what helps is this nature of personalized approach is available 24/7. Today, if I want to, suppose, go for a course in learning Sanskrit language, it is available. I can sit at 2 o'clock, 2 a.m., and at my own convenience, anytime, take my exam anytime, and acquire that. I really don't have to actually go and join an institution to do that. As far as connectivity between the stakeholders is concerned, we have, when we say stakeholders means, as far as concerned, the students, number one. Number two, the teachers, the faculty members. Number three, the parents. And number four, the alumni. Number five, even the administrative staff, administration. So ICT has enabled a great lot of connectivity between the stakeholders. I remember during our student life, especially in higher education, we've never had a parent-teacher meeting. We never had PTMs, but now these PTMs have become essential component of even higher education systems in India. Because when we have accreditation systems and evaluation of the institutes, there is a grade that is given reserved for stakeholders' opinion as well. So what do parents think about the curriculum? What do parents think about the infrastructure? What do parents think about the access, equity? Like that. So it is through ICT that the connectivity between the stakeholders, is facilitated. You can sit at any time. You really don't have to be available from 10 to 5. You can sit at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. We have done that with our stakeholders, whether it's alumni association or whether it's parents association. We have done that. Thirdly, what is very important is, and it is, if I could say, economic in nature. Third essential component is economic benefit is it equips students with digital skills and knowledge. The generation that we see now, we are teaching now, they are more competent in using ICT in their education. They are more competent because they are born with it. When they were born, it was already there. But we had to learn it. So obviously, they are more equipped. And when we impart them, when we use ICT for teaching or, we have certain courses in our curriculum where ICT is an important component, the students develop certain digital skills, which obviously prepares them, or you can say, which makes them market ready. We are building a knowledge society. So the skills which are important to survive, to compete, and thrive in a technology-driven economy. We know the jobs today, any kind of job, it demands some or other kind of digital skill. So jobs in every sector require some kind of proficiency with ICT knowledge, digital tools and platforms, and without that, you cannot do. And accordingly, what has happened is curriculum is also modified. Universities are modifying their curriculum accordingly. For instance, if I were to talk about geography, when we were doing geography, when we were students, in fact, till 2007 also, when I was also teaching in one of the colleges, what we saw, we were dealing with mapping in a conventional manner. We were doing surveying with survey tools, conventional tools. Now that is all replaced with remote sensing and GIS techniques. Now they are going ahead with what is known as geospatial technologies, which has a lot of applications in almost every field of economy, every field of society, every sector. Now, fourth component, which is fourth benefit, which you can say is facilitating inter-institutional collaboration and innovation. Like one we see now, National University of La Plata, this is one example just right in front of us. And IIMT, this is just one collaboration. Like this, we have so many collaborations, national, international collaborations. It helps us in designing collaborative projects, exchange of research and knowledge with peers across the world, and of course, exchange of path-breaking research and development of new technology and new innovations. This is what helps in ultimately economic growth and societal advancement, because ultimately whatever we are doing, whatever technology we are or whatever innovation we are coming up with, whether it is in the field of medical science or engineering or any other field for that matter, science too is meant to serve the society. Every field, I always tell my students, even science is meant to serve the society. Okay. So next, so society is the core. People are at the core of everything. If something doesn't or cannot help society, then it has no meaning. Then fifth one is, and this is very important because I'm very close to environment field. This comes with a cost-effective and environmental friendly education. Cost-effective in the sense Earlier, when we were students, and till recently, in fact, we did not have all the soft copies of the books and journals available. Nowadays, if you see, it contributes, the use of ICT contributes to the cost effectiveness of higher education. It has replaced traditional educational models based expenditure on physical infrastructure, textbooks, and other resources with digital resources and online platforms. For instance, ebooks, online journals, they are more affordable than their print versions. And then we have virtual labs and simulations. They are cost-effective alternatives to physical models that we buy, which are very expensive physical labs, which involve traditional relief maps, etc. So, of course, it makes easier for institutions to offer high-quality education. That cost can be diverted to somewhere else. So, high-quality education can be imparted to students without exorbitant investments. And in university administration too, nowadays we all know e-filing has replaced paperwork. It has saved time, it saves space for storage of large files, and it is easier to manage, and you can retrieve the student information, staff information, faculty information, and the notifications that are related to general administration anytime in one click. So it becomes much, much easier rather than, paper files rotting in some almirah. And your best part is you are saving on paper. These days, even doctoral theses, projects, dissertations, the universities encouraged to have soft copies evaluated as well, and there are no hard copies. Very rare. Very rare universities, these soft copies are gradually replacing all hard copies. So obviously we are saving on papers. We are going towards an environmental friendly education. So this was about few of the benefits that I could think about. Maybe there are many, maybe I have not addressed all. Now let's come to the barriers, and then I move on to the challenges, which I said I feel most serious about. These are very serious as far as use of ICT in higher education is concerned. That is the barriers and challenges. Excuse me. See, the first barrier is economic factors. Economic factors, because every university, every higher education institution or college may not have sufficient funds to generate infrastructure for ICT that is to be used in higher education. ICT, starting right from the installation to its purchase, to installation, to maintenance, and replacement of obsolete technologies with the new ones. So, insufficient funds for infrastructure and lack of resources. This is a major economic barrier, because if we compare, best of the colleges in University of Delhi may have better labs than the universities that we see here in Odisha. And I have experienced that. Physically, I have experienced that. Then the second one is socio-cultural factors. Socio-cultural factors, here I would say the language is a major barrier, because what we notice is majority of the softwares are available in English. So any student who is, say, from Hindi background or Odia medium or any vernacular medium for that matter, there is a major issue. So language comes as a major barrier in the use of ICT in higher education. And of course, attitude and skills of the teacher and the taught. Because if we, there are some faculties, some teachers who are resistant to change, who do not want to acquire the right skills, who do not want to use the ICT, then of course you cannot make the full potential, you cannot realize the full potential of use of ICT in higher education. Then also the skills of the students, that may also vary depending upon what is the intake, where do we take the students from at our undergraduate level. Some students may be coming from one kind of, you can say, government schools, where maybe there were no smart boards, and another set of students could be from public schools. Best of the schools, they may have been using smart boards right from the entry level. So obviously, there will be a wide gap. Then there are political factors, lack of political will. In many cases, lack of political will to implement or to encourage ICT in higher education. And where they do also, you can say maybe there is a lack of knowledge of requisite logistics to support the use of ICT in higher education. This is one thing that hampers the demands of the stakeholders. This is coming from my own experience when I was working in this college, UP. Some of the students belonging to coming from marginalized sections of the society, they were given some laptops by the government. You can say as an electoral stunt or whatever, but there were power cuts. If you cannot give them power 24 hours, 24/7 power supply, what's the use of laptops? Ultimately, they become redundant. Students do not have urge to use the same for academic purpose for no longer, because there is power shortage. I've experienced this in best of the towns, in cities, in UP, the power cuts. It used to happen then. And of course, then we have curriculum constraints, and even sometimes even academic freedom, I must say. When we design any curriculum, it is the stakeholders' opinion that must be sought, or otherwise, as I said, it will be difficult to compete with other institutions and other universities, and we will not be able to, regularly update the syllabi according to our need. When we talk about use of ICT in higher education, means the syllabus has to be regularly updated according to technology. The use that the technology that we are going to use, especially in case of sciences, especially in case of disciplines where we have practicals like geography, psychology, and many other core sciences that they say, zoology, botany, chemistry, physics, and all. You have to continuously redesign your curriculum. But if there are curriculum constraints, if there is limited academic freedom, then you see maybe you may have two sets of universities, like we have national education policy. We have national education policy running in University of Delhi, 5th semester already running. University of Delhi is already running 5th semester under national education policy, which adopts a multidisciplinary approach to higher education, and it has many important components. That's a different issue altogether. But under NEP, which is mandatory, University of Delhi is already running, enter its 5th semester, and universities in Odisha, they are yet to begin. I don't know whether they have even started designing their syllabus or not. They are yet to begin even their first semester. So obviously, within India only, we have this regional disparity. Then coming to the last one, as I said, coming from all these four factors, we come down to regional disparities. Like rural-urban divide in the use of ICT. We may have interstate disparities. Economically developed states maybe having better infrastructure, better online platforms. They could be running many courses, and of course intra-state disparities too, depending upon the nature of socio-economic groups and depending upon the inflow of the funds for the purpose from the government and other sources. These were few of the barriers that I could recognize. Now coming to the challenges. So this is the last one, the socioeconomic challenges that I want to address. Socioeconomic challenges when we use ICT in higher education. First is the digital divide. This remains a significant issue as there are disparities in access to technology, internet connectivity in various regions. And we have experienced this in during COVID. Although students had their instruments, many times due to poor internet connectivity, the attendance used to be less than 50%. That was our experience. And of course, amongst many social groups also, there is a digital divide in the sense when you assign any project to students, when you are assigning them projects, what you see is in a class of say 32 students, there could be only 10 to 15 students who have their own laptops. Others could still be dependent upon the resources which are there in the department. So suppose if the university shuts down at 5:30 p.m., 6 p.m., after 6 p.m., they would be either dependent on their peers or maybe doing no advancement, no progress in their projects. So there is a huge digital divide, and the full potential of ICT could only be realized when we invest in infrastructure and mandatory induction programs for educators of all age. This is again a digital divide in the sense when we say mandatory induction programs for teachers of all age groups. It may so happen that I am not comfortable with a particular technology, but if the technology is there and it is part of the curriculum, I'll end up saying that I'm not comfortable with it and I won't be able to handle that particular paper. So that becomes my handicap. So that should not be done, and I think it's always better to be updated with the technology as far as possible. And it also helps teachers in designing the curriculum and ensure that all faculties are adequately trained. And it is only when the faculties are trained that the students will have the necessary resources and support and mentors who can help them out. And then you have the issues related to cybersecurity and data privacy of the students, staff, and administration. This is a pure scientific area, so I will not dwell much into this, but of course, there are cybersecurity issues. Then there is these 3-4 challenges: content quality, plagiarism, over-reliance on e-resources, and lack of reading habit. This is something that relates directly to, or you can say affects directly the students and the teachers. Content quality. We have a lot of e-content available. We have a lot of e-resources available on a single platform. We say all that. But sometimes what we see is the content quality. If you go through the content quality, it may not be, you can say, up to the mark. The quality could be poor, and the resistance of students to go beyond e-resources or go beyond ICT to read books and all, they may just be confined to 1 or 2 e-contents, or maybe just reading one and reproducing that in the form of their answers. They may not be going beyond that. So content quality is one, plagiarism is another one. We experience this every now and then. We have plagiarism tests, but these days students are very smart. They work with ChatGPT and what's not. They prepare. I've myself experienced that. You give them assignments, they can produce within half an hour sitting there. So if they have adequate e-resources. So sometimes what I do is, in order to take plagiarism, I tell them, okay, you go to field, collect primary data, and give me handwritten assignment. Handwritten assignment, no copy paste, you write then and there. You show me regularly. There has to be there will be a continuous assessment of your project. This is what I try and do. Then there is, of course, over-reliance on e-resources. What students do is they experience, they're living in virtual life. They live their academic life. They experience their academic life in a virtual world, which is flooded with information. And as I said, there could be a lot of information, but little assimilation. How much you can process the information, how much you can assimilate, how much you can understand is different from how much you have physically. So their analytical skills, they also go down. And it's not very uncommon to find their dissertation titles mentioning the use of methods, rather, or I can say, if you look at the titles, they what is emphasized upon is the use of geospatial technologies in mapping this, or land use, land cover change. So I tell them, okay, fine, use of geospatial technology, that is only your method. You don't have to mention this in your title. Basically, what you're concerned with is land use, land cover change in a particular watershed or in a particular area. So that is your main theme. Sometimes over-reliance on e-resources makes them, if they skip what is main thing to do, what is the main theme in the project, they forget. They are more concerned with the methods. It's something like an overturned pyramid. It's like they lack conceptual clarity, and something like quantitative revolution when it hit geography and perhaps other disciplines as well, where themes took a backseat and methods to address or handle, or tools to handle that theme, those tools dominated the entire project. So over-reliance on e-resources is that way hits the student's mindset. And the last one is lack of reading habit. This is a very common phenomena that we see in today's generation, lack of reading habit. If you ask them one paper, if you tell them, okay, geomorphology, which is the reading list that has been provided to you, they may be able to tell you only one or two books, and that too they do not read. As I said, they are more dependent upon e-content. They won't be able to tell you Strahler, Sparks, or Rice, or Small and Huggett for geomorphology. There are so many good books. For one topic, when we were students, we used to read 5 books for one topic, and they are not reading 5 books even for one paper. Forget about one topic. So it's just e-content, e-content, and e-content. So reading habit, lack of reading habit is one. And another one that is very, that comes very easy for them is due to lack of, why this develops is because they have their own unofficial WhatsApp groups where they exchange these PDFs and PPTs. These are circulated in their WhatsApp groups. And of course, during the pandemic, we were doing that. We created WhatsApp group. We were sharing and sharing the reading materials. We were doing that because at that point of time, that was a necessity. But what was a necessity during the pandemic has become a norm now. It is very common now. Perhaps today's generation, I can say, doesn't want to work that hard, even if it sounds sad to, listen to what I'm saying. But there is a shlok in Sanskrit that goes like this, and which means Sukharthino kuto vidya nasti vidyarthinam sukham sukharthi va tyajed vidya vidyarthi va tyajed sukham. How can one who seeks comfort gain knowledge? That means if you seek comfort, you cannot have knowledge. There is no comfort for those who seek knowledge, and one who seeks comfort must renounce knowledge, and one who seeks knowledge must renounce comfort. This is the saying in Sanskrit. So for students, there should be no comfort. This is the only time that they can work hard, and this hard work, getting habituated to hard work, this is the only time student life. And they are not doing that. And as far as reading is concerned, I would like to say media may be any, but reading should be many, as one of the concluding remarks. You read from any source, be it newspaper, whether it's Kindle or any source. But at least, even if you have a PDF, please read the entire document. Don't use software to extract important lines from that and say, this is the literature review. This is what students are doing in literature review these days. And of course, inculcating the habit of reading in the young generation. As teachers, as faculty members, we must ensure that this should be done. So this was the gist of what I wanted to convey. And towards the end, I again come back to what Einstein to say, that education is not learning of facts, but the training of mind to think. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for the excellent extemporary presentation, and very thoughtful and very pinpointed and hard-hitting, say, whatever message you have given to the society. Thank you, madam. Any question from anybody? Professor Francisco, do you want to ask anything?
Just to say, very interesting, many things, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
In my opinion, one of the an important related with what we are working to is the access to ICT, no? That
Yeah.
and the management. We have in this moment we have a monopoly, no? A monopoly of the ICT, and this is in my opinion, interesting working to do to democratization, to make democratic the access and the source, no, the source of the ICT. Yes, it's difficult because they need very investment. They need hardware. They need software. They need. We know the history. It's very difficult in this direction, and but it's a challenge that we have to do. That we have to try to do something, because otherwise we're gonna go to a society with the few groups, economic group that manage the ICT, no, that manage the ICT, and we are only users. How can we do to change the situation, in your opinion?
what I feel is when we invest, it's all about investments by the government, because as far as India is concerned, government invests a lot in education sector. We, especially the educational institutions also, they expect a lot from the government. So I think the share of GDP that is allotted to education sector should be increased. And at the same time, it should be seen that it should be like I said, there should be distributive justice. Sometimes what happens is there are certain institutions who may get a lot of funds for whatever reasons. See, it's like a cycle. I get a lot of funds, so I have a lot of faculty members. I engage good faculty. Okay, with those kinds of funds, I can invest in research. I produce patents, and again, you know, through those patents and all, I get a good grade, and I again invite better funds. So it's like a chain. So somewhere this chain has to be broken, and even the weaker institutions should be encouraged somehow for at least certain period of time. They should be supported through funds, and then there can be faculty exchange programs as well, through which there should be if they want any there are any expectations regarding innovations and research, so these faculty exchange programs and collaborations, so that those collaborations may result in some positive results, some positive outcomes in those weaker institutions as well. And there is something that I want to convey here. Sometimes what happens is curriculum design is also, I mentioned that curriculum design is also very important here. Like in our state, Odisha, where I'm working, we have a uniform curriculum. So one remote region where what kind of access as far as ICT is concerned students have, we don't know. And sitting here in Cuttack, this university, NAC A++ university, I know we have best of the resources, but it could be possible that the curriculum is similar, because you do not have the academic freedom to design a different syllabus. They say, government has this policy of having common syllabus, common CBCS syllabus for undergraduate program throughout Odisha. Now, if this institution wants to produce better scholars who want to go to other institutions in other cities of India, that would be very difficult, because you want different curriculum, and even for the weaker sections of society who are sitting over there, they are competing with these students. So infrastructure is different, but students, what the input is the syllabus is same, but the infrastructure is different. So I think the weaker institutions should also be provided with if some kind of infrastructure, if not direct funds, you provide the infrastructure, you do that. And also some things can come from alumni association as well. We do have alumni associations, and they contribute a lot. Many institutions are experiencing that. If you have strong alumni associations, so this is where we can expect funding from alumni associations and government. And NGOs, I don't think so. NGOs themselves, they need funding from various sources.
Understand. Thank you.
I don't know whether that has answered your query or not, because even I'm not a technology person, as I said. I'm just a geographer.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. No, it's very interesting. We could publish a paper on this on the website of the prof of the if she would like to.
Sure.
we be public, because it's a in my opinion, it's a question, it's one of the topic very interesting in this moment for university too, for university, and for all people to exercise a right, not to exercise a right in this system economic too. This is an economic issue too, no? To work on, and I think that it's very interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to supplement whatever Madam has
Yes.
told. India is a very vast country. So this is the word I am say passing on to
Yes.
Professor Francisco, that we have 130 crore population, that is say 13 billion population, and they are remotely located, hilly areas, say cut-off areas, and the education level is not equal everywhere. And our education level, you have seen European system, American system, and say a Latin American system. Here we have a mixed economy, and the universities are also not equal. We have central government university, we call them central university. Madam was telling they are receiving more funds from the central government, and they are the iconic say institution or the university for the policy framework. They are in the government. They say frame policy for the say foreign policy, education policy. So they are in the government. We have in the technology side, we have IITs, Indian Institute of Technology. They are the premier institute, and they are central university, and IITs are equal level. Below that, we have National Institute of Technology and the other institution of prominence, or say some prominent universities are there. And each province, we have say 30 provinces, 30 or 50, Madam? 50, I think.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
50. Yes, we have 50 provinces, and each province has their own institution, universities. They are government funded, but they are not equal to the central government. They are provincial universities and provincial institute, but they receive fund, and those institute are for the say common masses. They look at their fee structure is less. They are basically catered to the need of the society. But these the central government institute, they are the institute for the bright student, for the meritorious student, for the scholarly student. So there is a much gap between the provincial university and the central government university. Next come, because the government also cannot reach to the poorest of the country, and so much of population is there, the government is unable to cater to the need of the society. So in 1995, the Indian government has privatized the technical education and professional education. So after 1995, we have so many institutions privately run. So I also run a privately owned institute, InterScience Institute of Management and Technology. We provide management and computer application programs. However, from 1995, many private institutions, they start up. And within 10 years' time, they become so big and big that they were declared as the deemed university. So now, as on today, we have say 5 categories of institute. One is central government institute and IITs, Indian Institute of Technology. Next one is National Institute of Technology and Institute of Prominence or Importance. Next one is provincial government universities and institutions. Fourth one is deemed university. And the fifth one is privately owned, so many mushrooming of the institutions. And their own, say, operation is different. Their funding is different. The input to the institute are different. So you cannot expect that one private institute will operate as a national prominent institute, and the national prominent institute, they are their own say limitations. They cannot cater to the general need of the people. So India is a very vast country, and we have very complex system in education also. But however, thanks, madam, that ICT, due to ICT, it has reached to the poorer of the poorest people.
Yes,
I want to
that
just
has
run,
happened.
I want to run. Are we going out of time, or I'll take 10
No, no,
minutes time?
it's yes, sure.
Yeah. So I want to run a video which is not mine, but it is a mind-boggling say exercise by one of the Indian teacher, school teacher. How the Indian teacher has say model teacher, how say he has served to the poorest of the poorer. Just see this one.
And one example I must give you, I walked into a government primary school in a place called Pastepada. This is 120 kilometers north of Thane in deep tribal area. I was told this school does not have electricity. When I walked into a classroom, there were about 40, 50 children in the entire school, primary school. Every child had a tablet. So I turned around to the teacher and asked this chap, Sandeep Gund. I asked him, Yari, bijli kahan se aati hai? So he took me around the school and showed me foldable solar panels through which he was charging the batteries, and through batteries he was charging the tablets. But I asked him, where did you get these tablets from? He said, sir, when I came to this school, I had a second-hand laptop. And on this second-hand laptop, I used to play these educational videos. So these children used to congregate around it and they used to enjoy it. So after around 2 months, about 15, 20 parents came to the school and they asked this teacher a very funny question. They asked him, पहले तो बच्चे स्कूल नहीं जाते थे, भागते स्कूल के लिए, क्या किया आपने? So he said कि मैंने अपने लैपटॉप पे दिखाते हैं. So when he found these parents interested, he requested them for 500 rupees each. They contributed, he bought 2 more tablets and attached them to the laptop. This, indulgence, and someone was talking about the kick, someone was talking about the passion. This chap had the passion. So what he did was, because of his passion, it went around. So one CSR funding agency and an NGO visited the school. And they saw this passionate teacher. So this CSR funding agencies provided tablets to them. Around which time I visited the school. And when I saw this passion, I took a photograph with the teacher and tweeted it. Suddenly he became a local hero. He became a pilgrimage for other schools. So they started visiting the school and started copying this. In between, I happened to meet the President of India in a different context. And I narrated this story to him, Sandeep Gund's story. And then I asked him, would you like to meet the teacher? He said, yes. I called him over to Delhi. He met the president, took a photograph with him. He suddenly becomes a national hero. But this is not the end of the story. The Pastepada model has been replicated within 2 years in 50,000 schools of Maharashtra. It's absolutely amazing. And what is even more amazing is that every penny of 354 crores that was required was raised through crowdfunding. Nothing from the government. It's a classic example of public-private partnership.
So I was just showing you one of the model. It is say eye-opening model by a school teacher in one of the province of India. So this is the way we Indians works. Government is there, provincial government is there. We have entrepreneur, we have say philanthropist, we have also a leader like whatever you have seen in Bastepada. So this one I want to convey to Professor Francesco Vigliarolo, and for Madam, I want to show again few more pages. After that, we will be winding up. Is it visible, Madam?
Yes, sir,
Yes.
it's visible. It's visible.
This one is a conferences we did in 2021 in one of the remote area of Odisha, that is Gunupur. And the topic was smart and sustainable technology for rural and tribal development using IoT and cloud computing. So Madam was telling that she is from geography and nothing is there for technology management or science. But however, for the tribal people also, this is the thing we are working. So for the next edition, I invite Madam to join with us so we can have the second edition of this conference on ICSST, maybe next year in 2025. Madam. So this one, this is another example, international conference and digital classroom and smart learning. This month we are holding on July 19th and 20th. Madam was given a nice talk on this. So I invite Madam to participate in this.
Sure. This
And
would be
this
very
one,
interesting, yes.
yeah, and this one we are conducting in November 1st and 2nd
November.
with the guidance of Professor Vigliarolo. So we want your cooperation, your participation, so we can work together, Madam and
No, sir.
Professor Vigliarolo, for the time to come. I invite Madam sometimes
Sure,
please
sir, sure.
visit our institute. We do
Definitely.
quality work, and we are passionate about all the activity we do. Thank you all for joining, Professor Vigliarolo.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Professor
Thank you.
San Francisco. Thank you.
No,
So
thank
in
you. Thank
spite
you.
of your in spite of your illness, you have attended today's
Yes.
meeting. Thanks for joining with us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Soma,
you so
are you
much.
there? Soma, are you here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I am there.
Okay, so you wind up and we'll
Okay.
close up.
Thank you all. Thank you, madam, for such a nice session on ICT, and it is an eye-opener for all of us. It was very enlightening and giving us the knowledge about how ICT is affecting the higher education. I'm very much thankful to all our speakers and even if the guests who are there today for their time. I'm very much thankful to Professor Francisco Vigliarolo, Madam Dr. Ranjana Bajpayee, and Professor Dr. Shrikant Patnaik for giving all of their time and efforts to make this lecture series a success. And I'm very much thankful to Madam and again to Professor Vigliarolo that they have given us this opportunity to run this series. And in a passion, sir, let me bring it to your kind cursor. We are in the 9th session. We are in the 9th series and hopeful to complete the 12th series very soon under your guidance. Thank you all. Thus, I
Thank you
wind
so
up our
much.
series.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.